talk to you, trying to get you to come aboard on our program. There is a stigmatism out there about our program. There's the good, there's the bad, and there's the ugly. I say to make it good, landlords like you guys got to do your part to make it better. And then that's going to make the tenant even better. I'm just going to start off real quick. The book that I put together for you guys, take it home, read it. You need to call me. My number is in the book if you want one-on-one attention, because right now I'm not holding a briefing monthly like he said. I'm only doing one-on-one. Due to COVID, we shut down. We just opened back up this year. And so if you need my attention, I'm there. Call me, email me, and I will talk to each of one of you guys. But tonight, I'm not going to go over everything in the book. I put it together because it's some good information. Everything on the left-hand side of the book is talking about lead, potential lead in your home. Coming on our program, we have a lot of homes built before 1978. But HUD says any home built before 78, we must like put a little flag just so we can pay extra attention. Not saying you guys can't bring on older homes, because we do have a lot of them. It's just saying make sure that the paint is not peeling, cracking, any type of things like that, because the paint that they did back in the day, it had lead. But in the early 70s, they took the lead out of the paint, but a lot of paint companies still use that paint. So we still have to be very aware of houses built before 78. Okay? So everything on the left-hand side of that book is talking about lead or remodeling or rehab. So you guys have all the information you need to know. On the right-hand side of the book, Mike Twisdale is in the back. Mr. Twisdale in the back. We are double teaming you guys today. He is a part-time inspector, expired person. So he has a book of knowledge. So when I don't know something or he's in the field and he wants to bounce off of me, we bounce off of each other. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how to come on the Section 8 program. There's a card in the book. So how you're going to say, Ms. Jones, how do I list my property? I put a card in the book, affordablehousing.com. It used to be gosection8.com. It's the same company. They just switched names. That card in the book is a good, safe place to list your property. Why is it good? Because the city of the Hampton Police Department, they let us know, try to discourage landlords or property investors not to put for rent signs in your yard. Why? Because right now, the crime in this area is not just in Hampton, it's in Newport News, Portsmouth, Norfolk, Virginia Beach. But what they're doing, they're targeting vacant homes. And if the home is vacant, then they come in. Sometimes they become a squatter. It has happened to our properties at HR. We had brand new properties built. We had squatters that went in and start living, cooking hot dogs, taking a bath, and doing all of that. So this really do happen. And on top of that, the people that want your air conditioning, and that is the hot ticketed item, your heating and air. They will come if your house is vacant, and they will try to get that. So I always tell landlords that comes to my class, I said, make your house look like you live there, even though you might not be there. Say you have an ADT sticker thing in your yard, just move it to your rental property. If you have 2 cars, rotate them out, put some blinds up, put a sensor light, $12, $15 sensor light that pops on when somebody walks up. So I just want you guys to know what the police department is telling us, to protect your homes. Don't just leave them like they vacant and put that for rent sign. So use that card, affordablehousing.com. It's free. We pay that annual fee every year. I use it every day. So use that card. That is the first thing you do, is list your property. Once you list it, it will try to get you to advertise your pictures. You don't have to. You can say no, thank you, and move on, because that is a cost that you guys will have to come out of pocket. But just say no, thank you, because if a tenant is interested, they can call you, set up an appointment, they can see it then. So don't give them no extra money because we already paying them. Okay? So that card is the first thing you do. List your property. I can't tell you how to list your property. If you still want to put that for rent sign, you can. I can't say don't, but I'm just saying, just be a little careful about that. Okay? After you list your property, tenants gonna flood the phone. They're gonna start calling you. They might say, Mr. Mike, I want your property. That's how it all begins. You're gonna list your property, they're gonna call you, you're gonna start interviewing your tenants. It's up to you guys to screen your tenant. We will help you if you ask for their previous landlord. That's a good screening process. Where they work, good. So once you find your tenant, I'm moving forward. You found your tenant that you want to place in your home. They're gonna come to you and they're gonna say, Miss Smith, I have my move-in packet. You're gonna say, what is move-in packet? It's called a voucher, their Section 8 voucher paperwork, or their move-in packet. Their move-in packet is going to have some information that you must fill out pertaining your house. It's going to ask you what year your house was built, da da da. It's going to have all this information for you guys to fill out. What do you have in your home, electric, and you're going to be writing all this. But I always say, landlords, do your own footwork. Learn where our office is. Know our office. Y'all gonna have me. Y'all gonna have my car, and y'all gonna be calling me. So y'all gonna be good. Um, so you're gonna fill out that paperwork. Once you fill it out, a lot of times the tenant say, "I can drop it off. I know you're busy." One thing about that paperwork, it's gonna have your important information like your tax ID, avoided checks. So because we don't do checks anymore, we do direct deposit. So all of that information is going to be in their packet. So what you do is take their packet and fill it out, come to our office and drop it off. That's how the process begins. Once that's done, we have a move-in person. Her name is Miss Hardy. She does all the move-ins. She will look at your paperwork. She'll make sure that that tenant qualifies for your unit. Make sure when you're looking at their voucher, make sure their voucher says Hampton Redevelopment and Housing. Because if it says Norfolk, Virginia Beach, Newport News, it's non void here in Hampton. It has to say Hampton. Make sure that their voucher has not expired. Today is April the 13th. If they come to you April the 13th and their voucher expires April the 13th, you cannot fill it out and get it to our office to get it stamped by midnight. Is non void. They need to go back, get another voucher, another packet, and bring you a new packet. Those are the key little things to look for. Moving forward, after the paperwork is turned into Miss Hardy, allow her 7 to 10 days from the beginning to the end. I know you're saying, how long does this process take? Right now, we're a little backed up. So I'm going to say 28 days from the beginning, from you listing your property, finding a tenant, filling out the paperwork, dropping it off in our office. You give it to Ms. Hardy. She's going to send it. She's going to do her thing. She's going to send it over to the inspection team, which is our department. I'm going to get what y'all turned in. I'm telling me that your house is built in 1985. You have this, you have that. I'm going to put all that in that same place, affordable.com. That's what we use. And they're going to give me comps, 2 miles right down the street, right next door. They're going to give me comps right in that area to tell me if your rent is reasonable. If your rent is not reasonable, you're going to get a phone call from me. And I'm going to say, hey, Mr. Stewart, you asking for 17. Can I offer you 1650? He's gonna say 1650, but he's gonna be thinking about it the whole time because he know in a year's time he can always ask for a rent increase. So just because you might not get that 17, but you might get that 1675, but you know you're gonna have that steady income every month. So work with us and we're gonna work with you guys. Okay, once all that takes place, if I don't call you, that means it's good. The next call you're going to get is from our inspections assistant. She's going to set you up. She's going to call and she's going to say, Mr. Brown, are you ready for inspection at 722 Hampton Avenue? And they're going to say, yeah. She's going to ask three questions. She's going to say, is all utilities on? You're going to say, yes, they on. Is the house move-in ready? My partner is going to come up right behind me and is going to talk about the inspection side. So I'm not going to cross in his lane, but she's going to ask three questions. Is all utilities on? Is the house move-in ready? Are you ready? Can I set you up with this date? If that's good, she's going to lock you in with a date and time. And most likely, she's going to tell you, Mr. Twisdale going to come out and meet you. At this time, I'm going to let him come up and talk about inspections.
All right, so I'm Mike Twisdale, like you said. We have four kinds of inspections. We have initial inspections, which is a move-in inspection. And that's when the person not moved in yet, the tenant's not moved in, the house is almost always empty when I go in to do the inspection. We have an annual inspection, and depending on how the house is under six, then it will be a 1 year every year or every 2 years. We've gone to 2 years now for most annual inspections. So what happens is an annual inspector will come around about every 2 years, do a walk through the house and just kind of look around and say, hey, that hole wasn't in the wall when you moved in there, you need to get that fixed, that kind of thing. Then we have a special inspection where the tenant might call and say, my oven's not working, and we will say, have you called the landlord and let them know? Because a lot of times they haven't. They just call us to make that complaint without calling the landlord, give them a chance to fix it. And then we have an emergency inspection, which means the water pipe is busted in the front yard, water going everywhere, or the range is, the hot water heater is gone out. We got no hot water. Those are emergency inspections. I will come out, or one of the other inspectors will come out and look at that. And if we see it's an emergency, we call the landlord. We write up a paper saying, you got 24 hours to fix this. It usually doesn't happen in 24 hours, but we try to work with you best we can on that. So mostly what I do are move-in inspections. If you put a house on the Section 8 program, you're more than likely going to see me because I do like 95% of all the move-in inspections. When I come out there, there's several things, and I made a list of a few things that I'm looking for. One thing is the house has to be clean and sanitary. When they move in that first day, they shouldn't have to clean anything. It should be clean, and I'm a stickler on that. I'll go through the cabinets, look and make sure there's not crumbs of rice or salt and pepper on the shelves. I go in your closets, I look up on the I check everything. I check every outlet in your house. I've got a special device I plug in, and it tells me if it's wired properly. And quite often, the wires you may not know it, but there might be a hot neutral reverse. All they got to do is switch the wires on the outlet. But I will let you know about that. I have a piece of paper that's carbon, and everything that I see that needs to be done for HUD purposes. Oh, by the way, we're called Hampton Redevelopment Housing Authority, but we don't actually come under Hampton. We come under HUD. HUD comes down every so often and makes sure we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. So with that, clean and sanitary, big deal. Like Joanne said, all utilities have to be on. I had 2 inspections today. When I went out there, the gas was locked out. Landlord said they didn't know it was locked out. Well, I can't do the inspection unless all utilities are on: water, electricity, and gas. Speaking of that, smoke detectors. You have to have a smoke detector in the hallway and a smoke detector in each bedroom. It used to be just the bedrooms, and then they decided they want to do it in the hallway, so that way you got 2 smoke detectors that can go off in case one of them's not working, the other one will. If you have 2 floors, you have to have a smoke detector on each floor. Carbon monoxide detector. That's a big thing these days because carbon monoxide is a silent killer. If you have CO in your house, if you're in the bed or if you're not in the bed, you might get a little headache, but you'll get tired of sleeping. You go to sleep and you won't wake up. unless that CO detector wakes you up and allows you to get out. And you call 911 and fire department will come out, and they've got more sensitive than the smoke detectors or CO detectors. But with the CO detector, you don't need it if your house is all electric. You got to have combustion to have CO. So if you don't have natural gas going to your house, you don't have CO. Except if you've got an attached garage, you have to have a CO detector. Because if somebody puts the car in the garage and starts the car up, when that heater comes on, when the air conditioning comes on, it'll suck the air right under the door going into the house and bring CO to the house. So that's the only exception is if you have an attached garage. If you have a detached garage or a shed out in the rear of your yard, some landlords say, they're not going to have any access to the inside of my garage or the inside of my shed. And that's fine as long as you keep it locked. But the outside has to be in good condition. When I say good condition, no peeling paint. If you have exposed wood, you need to paint it. Anything that I see that's where the wood shines through, like usually on the handrails and stuff like that, you have to paint them. Walls in the house, if these walls look great, they're probably not too long ago painted, but if there's scars all over the wall and nail holes, you're going to have to make that wall look decent. It's got to be good condition, but it does not have to be new. And that's what I always say when I say, everything in here has got to be in good condition. It ain't got to be new, but it's got to work the way it's designed to work. Your range has got 4 burners. All 4 burners should work. 3 of them are working, one's not, and that's a fail. Okay. Let's see. Windows, all the windows, when we lift the window up, it has to stay up. It can't come falling back down. And they make devices at Home Depot that will hold the window in place when you lift it up. But if you're trying to get out of a house that's on fire and you're trying to get out that window's laying across your back because of position, it's not a good thing. Vines, if you have vines growing on your house, and I see a lot of that, you can't have vines growing on your house. You need to pull the vines off your house. The other thing we're talking about vines is this time of year, I'm starting to see some poison oak and poison ivy. If I see that, then you got to get rid of it. You can't just spray it and kill it. You got to get rid of it. And if it's on a tree, I tell them to do it to about 6 or 7 feet high and remove everything down below it. So if the kids play it, they don't touch those vines and they don't put their hands in their eyes or their mouth or something. So, is there any questions about any of that? And there's an inspection pre-checklist in your packet there. Mm-hmm. And you can also go to Hampton RHA and if you go to housing, when you go to that website, go to housing, then go to landlord, and you'll see a detailed inspection list on that as well.
They have it.
Yes, ma'am.
You guys do move out inspections as well if the tenant leaves the house in the condition that it was in?
Good question.
No.
We don't.
Oh.
We don't. I know. I know, we should.
There should be no responsible.
We don't, well, sometimes it's substantial damage, and we might send a chief out there to look at it or something, make a note of it, but when they move out, that's why what she said about screening your landlords is so important. We don't do,
However,
I'm going to speak on what she just asked. Move out inspections, no, we don't do move out, but that's why you ask for a security deposit before they move in. And then the landlord itself, though, I would say the first year, I always tell new landlords, put in your lease, quarterly inspections. Don't leave your house
up to 2 years.
Yeah, for us to come back, and then it's devastating. The landlords have a part. The tenant know if they mess up, they can get put off the program.
Right. So will you guys allow
No, we can, you state your deposit. We can't tell you what to do for your security deposit. You ask for what you want. If the tenant can afford it, because we don't assist anybody with their security deposit. But we do, I, in my landlord briefing, always tell landlords, ask for that security deposit. Landlord, stay for your property. Put it in your lease, the first year quarterly inspection. Suppose I want that. You put it in your lease and you tell them Article 35-A. I said I'm coming in to check my smoke detectors, and you give them a 48-hour notice. Because this is not friendship. This is business. And I always say, tell them keep it strictly business. Do your part, and we're gonna do ours, and the tenant's gonna do theirs.
Follow up. So let's say tenant causes significant damage.
You're gonna have to.
Is there
You're
any
gonna,
recourse that the landlord has other
you're
than?
gonna take them to court. You're gonna take them to court, and then you're gonna turn them in to us so we can kick them off the program. They do get kicked off, and right now nobody wants to be kicked off right now because it is hard out. So mostly all the tenants, they abide by the rules. They know what the rules is. Up to the landlords to enforce the rules. Yes, Mr.
This
Stewart.
is, Section 8 requires them to leave you in a good position. My question that I have for you, when they send me the letter saying, hey, I'm getting ready, I'm giving you my 30-day notice,
Why not?
you all immediately send the landlord a letter that says, hey, is the tenant in good standing?
There you go.
Now, here I had an issue a while back. The girl was about $50 behind.
Hmm.
I wasn't going to give the girl a hard time about $50 for two reasons. One, Section 8 paid 90% of the rent. I never chased her down for that extra $20 a month because it's not worth my $20 driving all the way from Yorktown to Hampton. So I let that build up. My question became, all right, I let that go, but how do I know before they leave if they're in good standing when I haven't done my move out inspection and you're giving me 10 days because usually the move out inspection is pretty close to the end. And it just so happens when this girl left, the place was a shame. It was just like, okay, kept our deposit, and I was probably short a little bit even after that. But the point is, check with them. Now, the question I have for you is how much time have we got? How do I handle a situation like that
If
where
they
I
give
really
you,
don't
if
know?
they give you a 30-day notice to move out, at that point, I would give them 48 hours to say, I'm coming and check my property prior to you moving out.
Okay.
All you have to do is give them 48-hour notice. Drop it in the mailbox and text, email, however you talk to your tenant.
Do the move out inspection a couple of weeks.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, sir. And that way you know, and that way if it's pulled up from the floor, you can pick and send it to your technician. They're gonna start them from moving. They will not be able to move to another house.
They will get a voucher.
They will terminate them. If we have proof that they did this and they said, okay, that's gonna be between you and the tenant if y'all work out that agreement. But if he send pictures to that technician, it's supposed to stop them from moving anywhere. They can't even move to Mississippi. Even though they don't call themselves ported, they can't run because we're going to stop you dead in their tracks. If you move, like when we send them that letter, we going to move. Like I said, program has good, bad, and ugly, but I've been doing this for almost 15 years. And with the landlords that I've been coming to my briefing, they've been passing inspections the first time because they've been listening, or they blowing my phone up. This shows I'm having inspection. What do I do? And I talk them through it because that's what I'm supposed to do. I don't want y'all to leave here feeling like this program is not, it's good. It's a good thing. It's good money into this. You bring a good house in our program right now, you're going to get good money. We just ask that you do the best that you're supposed to be doing it and your lease. Yes, ma'am.
I have two questions. The first one is, I know you all are working, but is the other peninsula cities operate the same, like Newport News and Yorktown and Williamsburg?
We all are under HUD guidelines. So we have different. We all have the same guidelines. We all have federal laws that we must force and we must follow through with. So, but each agency, sometimes the city of Hampton says this, and they try to make us do what the city says, but we still have to be under HUD guidelines because that's where our money is coming from.
Okay, and the other question is, there's a website that I saw, it's for Virginia, Housing Choice Voucher, and it gives you like payment schedules and whatnot. Is it, so you were talking about the market value, do we go off of those payment schedules?
You can look at those payment schedules. You can look at those. You can look at the fair market rent. Just look at the house, the location, where it is. Know the value of your house. HUD says if your house is worth 160,000, we are paying 10%, which is 1,600. Get it?
10% talk about every month or?
10% of that's what you can charge.
Okay.
Okay, but also know where your house is located. Your house is in Hampton, and I'm not throwing any shade nowhere. I'm not going to throw shade on Shell Road versus Farmington. But you know, if you got a 4-bedroom house, 2 bathrooms, 2.5 baths, don't ask for no $2,000. Farmington might can get that 1,800 because it's the area.
So it's about the area.
Yes, ma'am.
So you know the payment schedule states certain things.
Yeah, ma'am.
You can't just go just off of the payment schedule.
No, ma'am. You know the area, you know the market area rent.
Okay.
Okay, and I didn't mean to offend anybody from Shell Road or Farmington. I just threw it out there because that's what popped up.
We got a question in the back, and I've got somebody online has a question, so we get done with that if we could. I'll read you one we got online.
We use affordablehousing.com. They pull comes within 2 miles. If I try to get it right in that area, right down the street around the corner. But sometimes if it's a 4 or 5 bedroom, I have to go out a little way. Okay?
And along with that, we might have a base rent that we're thinking for that area, for that size property and everything. But when I go out there and this house is all pieces.
That's just just hold it nearby. You're good.
So when I go out there and the house is, it's shutters are falling off, the handrail is laying on in the yard. I will call Joanne and say, Joanne, this house is not worth $1,850. It's not in good condition. It's going to take a lot of work. It's just not worth it. On the other side of it is I'll go to a property and it just get rehab. I went in one today and man, it was beautiful. And all the houses around it were not so good, but this house was nice. And I'll call Joanne and say, Joanne, this house is really nice. They got all new appliances in it, fresh paint in every room, new hardwood floors. They need a little bump up on this. So we come to stuff that
I'll see you Wednesday when you come look.
I can tell you right now what he's going to get.
But he's my eyes out there in the field. We always double team. We bounce off of each other.
Pictures and send him to a
Send them to me. And while he's out there, I'm saying, hey, tell them they can get what they ask him. He has the final say. I'm sitting in the office plugging stuff in, but he's out there. He can see with his eyes. He knows if it's not worth, because a lot of people are asking for high rent right now. Everybody is. So we have to do what we have to do, because if I give somebody $1,800 over here and $1,800 didn't go over here, I can get flagged by HUD. They're going to say, why? And he's going to tell me why, because this house was not right.
Anytime I like I had one the other day, it was around 2,000.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, you're not getting 2,000. We'll give you 1,900. That's tops. And I had called Joanne in advance. I sent her some pictures, and normally they don't argue about that because they know the house is not in great condition, and it's easy to see. it's easy to say when something's not
And
good.
but when we see houses that's like step above, and that's what we looking for. That the landlord went out. We're gonna give them what they asked for.
Most all the time, whatever you ask for, you get it. Unless it's really a crazy
And then
price.
just know when it's that lease time next year, you're gonna get that rent increase letter. In case you don't get it, you can put it in writing. Always do 60 to 90 days before their lease and send it in and say, hey, I want a rent increase.
So when you say you give them what they asked for, this was the question I was going to ask. For those landlords that are trying to separate themselves by doing quality work to
Mhm.
attract
Right.
the best tenants,
Mhm.
how much discretion do you have in terms of leeway do you have in terms of the rent that they ask for? I'm assuming there's still a maximum for that area.
Okay, well, first of all, when I get the inspection form to go out and to do my inspection in the mornings, there's already a rent on it. And based on what that rent is when I'll make an opinion whether I think, 90% of the time, whatever's on that form is good by me as long as the house is in halfway decent, not halfway, but good condition. But occasionally I will call her and say, this is really nice, or this one's, it's just not worth it. It's just, everything.
And usually before he hits the street to do an inspection, I have already looked at it. And if he don't see no cross out marks on his inspection, he knows that rent is good. But if he sees some cross out, that means I have ordered it, talked to the landlord, they agreed upon this. And if he gets out there and he says it's better than what I can see, then it can come back up.
Is there a maximum or a ceiling that you can't go over based on given neighborhood?
We don't have a cap per se. We just go per neighborhood. No,
So there is an incentive for landlords
Yeah.
that want to come in and do a top one.
it's
Yeah,
always,
oh yeah.
that's what we're looking for. That's what we're looking for.
There's a number of houses out there with pretty good rent.
Yes.
I go, what? And I get out there, I go, damn, this is worth it. This is pretty nice.
I've got a question from somebody online.
Yes, sir.
She asked me, she says, last month Norfolk told her that if a valuable tenant gives no notice and doesn't turn over the keys, but claims they moved out of the property many months ago, the housing authority has the right to claw back rents from their bank account. Even if the housing authority okay, so this leaves way too much risk for a landlord if a disgruntled tenant can just lie and say they moved out 6 months ago.
I've
Is
never,
that something that
I've never heard it. I don't know of any situation that we had to go and get money from a tenant. We always,
from a landlord? She's saying that the tenant moved out, didn't tell the landlord, but the tenant had something going with the local Section 8 office. And so the Section 8 came and clawed back the rent.
it sounds like some suspicion, fraud.
Yeah.
It sounds
Yeah,
like
this
fraud.
This is coming from your counterpart.
Okay. I'm speaking from him. I don't know what Norfolk is doing. I don't know what Norfolk is doing, even know what Newport News is doing, and I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
She did not say Portsmouth.
But it sounds like some fraud is going on, and I put that in the book as well. You know.
Yeah, and this is a well-respected property manager.
Okay, well, if she's a well-respected property manager, she should know. She should know all the laws.
I think she does, and she's questioning what she's been told by people in Norfolk.
Okay. I've never heard of that.
I've never heard that in my time, so I'm going to stick to it.
I would say this, and Joanne, I'm making sure I'm right because I'm an inspector. I don't do this, but if we're sending you checks and you know your tenant has moved out 3 months before, but you still keep
Yeah,
your
we're gonna come
checks,
back and get
Yeah,
that.
and we're gonna come back and say, wait a minute, But
But that's not what
I know
she's
that's not
saying.
what she's saying.
She's saying that the tenant said they left, but they
No.
didn't.
No.
Cause I don't go to my house every month.
No, you don't supposed to, but you're supposed to go at least every quarterly.
Every quick, yeah.
Yeah, quarterly.
Well, I've got a question on a different subject, so if you've got something to say.
I was just going to say, I asked the tenants, the landlord, how often you plan to come back and check on your property? And sometimes they go, well, next year. I go, you ought to handwrite a little thing in there saying that you're going to come every 90 days to change the air filter. When you go in and change it and make them initially. Right. You go in and change that air filter, you look around and see what kind of condition.
That's what I say.
Right. That is a good idea.
And that's what I always say. That's my rule of thumb, because a lot of Section 18 don't know how to change the air filter. They don't check the smoke detectors. So that's my way of getting in. Hey, I'm giving you a note. That's my way in. I'm coming in and finish the filter. That's a good way while you're there. You can see if anything's going on, if some smoking is going on. I'm gonna put this rule out here, and y'all can take it because it's true. HUD says if we're paying any HUD funds to any landlord, tenants do not have the right to smoke in any subsidized house. They have to go outside.
That's good. I like that. How about burning incense?
I don't know about no burning no incense, Mr. Stewart.
I think that's always covering up something else when I go.
Well, it could be, or they could have went to the bathroom, Mr. Stewart. I don't know. Because at our office, when they go in there, sometimes they burn an incense, and you know they're not smoking in our bathroom, so there's an incense. So it could be that. So, but if you go in there, anyone who don't smoke, who walks in a property, their nose will automatically smell smoke. You go back to your lease, enforce your lease. Enforce your lease, then that tech is going to back you up 100%. Because whatever is going on, you're going to call and say, hey, this is going on, this is going to pick a picture, send it to the tech. I gave them a written warning. I always say 3 strikes. Give them a verbal, just in case they say they didn't read your lease. I always say at the time you're going to sign your lease after your traffic inspection, sit down and go over that lease. Tell them what you don't want them to do in your house. Utilities, we do have property. They include the utilities. You include the utilities, there's more rent.
There's a form where you check heat, air conditioning, you check owner or tenant.
It's in that moving package that I was talking about for you to fill out.
You sure it was it?
Say it again. Go ahead.
He asked about screens on the windows. Every openable window has to have a screen in good condition. If it has a hole, I'm going to write it as a fail. Just so you know that.
Call me. I get y'all ready. That's the inspection. I'm going to get you ready.
And the other thing, we used to take receipts. If a window was cracked, then I would write it up, and then they say, well, I can't get the window for 2 months. We're on back order, and they are on back order. So I go ahead and I write them a pass slip. About 3 weeks later, I went back. Well, no, it was 3 months later. I went by the same house. And I saw that bullet in that picture window. I went and knocked on the door and said, ma'am, I thought this window was replaced. She said, oh, once you test it, he went and got his money back. So we used to take receipts, but we don't do it anymore unless it's something. I have discretion to take what I want. So I typically
The move-out issue, are tenants obligated to tell you when they're moving out?
Yes, they're supposed to give you whatever you have in the lease. It's whatever you have in the lease. It's usually a 60-day notice. They're supposed to give us a 60-day notice so they can come and get another voucher. So they can't just do a 30-day.
Right, I totally agree. I mean, that does not make sense to me. But I think
Yes, sir.
Can you speak to how the voucher process works? Just a high-level overview. Is it based on a specific dollar amount?
Each
And how
tenant,
long does the voucher last?
the voucher is ongoing until they have enough income that they can come off the program, which they call it TTP. It's like they have enough income, but every year they're gonna have a certification to see their income, and they have to come in and do this, their technician.
So
And
is
each
it,
tenant, I can't speak for everybody because each tenant is different. This tenant might qualify for a 1 bedroom. This tenant might qualify for a 2. This tenant might qualify for
so
a
the,
3.
so the
It
voucher is
depends on-
qualified then for how many bedrooms?
Yeah,
How many bedrooms? It's the size of
It's
the
the
family.
size of the family.
versus
So it's
regular.
not
It's
a
the
dollar,
size.
and it's not a
It's
dollar.
not a dollar. Because there's 2 bedroom standards and 3 bedroom standards.
Which, three bedrooms?
Okay, go
How many bedroom, what number of bedrooms do you have the least of or the most demand for?
ahead.
5s and 4s.
5s and 4s.
Really, 5s and 4s.
5s and 4s are
5s and
the
4s.
5s and
We have
4s.
some 5 bedrooms houses out there, and we have some 4s, and those are, I mean, some people have a lot of kids. You can only put 2 people in a bedroom. But what they say is, HUD says, if you have a 3-bedroom house, that would be 6 people, 2 people.
Yeah.
And it used to be, had to be 2 boys, 2 girls. Now it doesn't matter. Young kids, a boy and a girl.
Unless they have
Special needs, right? But now they say, or they have said, that the living room is considered a sleeping room. So if you have 3 bedrooms and a living room, it's 8 people.
I did have a girl, now they because I had a girl last week. That she says, okay, so this is 4 bedrooms. One of the rooms is a dining room, it could be a bedroom or not. So 4 bedrooms, people in she wanted to bring like 10 people into the house. And I'm thinking, how do I say no legally?
I'll say
Yes,
How do I
you can.
legally say no? Because it's 4 bedrooms in the living room. That's 10 people. He said, I can bring 10 people in.
You can say no from the get-go. Just don't make no promises because that's where your fair housing come in. Legally, you already know you have a 3-bedroom house. So you know you can hold up to 6, 7
Up to
people.
s-
8 people. Well, that can be 10. That can be 10.
So how do I?
But you can screen your tenant. You have the right to say no from the get-go.
Well, okay, this is the scary part. People call me on the phone all the time. Do you take Section 8? Yes, I take Section 8. Come look at it. And then I have these conversations where the lady says, I'm Section 8. I've got 10 people. Section 8 says I can move into the house with 10 people into this house. I go, I mean, how can I, do I say, what do I say no to?
You say, I'm still screening. You use the correct terminology with each tenant. You're still in the screening process. I will get back with you. Thank you, ma'am. I will call you in a couple days. No, you can't move in my house.
Okay. All right. Because I mean, I don't want to I'm trying not to
And
get in trouble.
and that's not getting in trouble. You screening.
Okay.
You're supposed to screen
I like
each
that.
tenant. You're supposed to screen
That's
each
scary.
tenant. No, you're supposed to.
What takes one question? I want to say one thing about the bedrooms. Just because you call it a bedroom doesn't mean I'm gonna call it a bedroom.
Okay.
Okay. A dining room, a bedroom has to have a door to go in and out. Has to have a window. Okay, unless it's like a condominium where one of the bedrooms is a door that goes out on a deck. That's fine.
Okay.
But and here's what some tenants, some landlords will do. They'll have to take a big bedroom and they'll put a wall between it and put a door. Now it's 2 bedrooms, but that doesn't work according to code because you can't walk through a bedroom to get to a bedroom. That first person's got no privacy. So, but if that second bedroom has got a way to get out of it, then you can put a door there.
And do both doors have to lock?
The only doors that have to lock are the doors that go in or out of the house. Okay, bedroom doors do not have to lock. Oh, why are you saying that? You can't have a keyed lock on a bedroom door or any door in the house. HUD says no keyed locks. If that door's locked, there's a key. If you don't know where the key is, you can't get in the door. You can have those the lock sets that's got the little hole in it, you know, those are fine, but you can't, no keyed locks on the inside of the house. And where I see that usually is a deadbolt on a front door or a back door. Some deadbolts, instead of having the thumb latch, have a key on the inside. That won't pass. You have to switch the deadbolts out. Closet is not a requirement for bedroom for HUD purposes. If you're selling a house, it is required, but for HUD purposes, you don't have to have a closet in the bedroom. Huh? Okay. Right. Yeah. Right. You can't go through a bedroom to get to a bedroom. Yes, ma'am.
So what do you tell somebody who tries to demand a refund or to like and say I'm I'm going through the screening process, and then you decide not to select them for whatever reason. If they want to be vindictive, could they say that discriminated against them and that's why they didn't get selected, or what can happen with reason?
You don't have to give a reason because they're not your tenant. You're just going through the screening process. And what you're doing is finding the best tenant for your property.
Okay, that's all.
But you don't have to say you're trying to find the best tenant. What you're doing, you're screening. But you don't have to give them a reason. No, you can just say, I decided to go with this family. Sorry, I can't help you at this time. That's it.
It's kind of hard to hear. We're having a hard time hearing, guys. We're just a few more questions and then we'll start networking.
So I guess pretty much like eligible to be section. So that's my point. What screening process do you guys do to take on?
What is the criteria to become a Section 8 tenant? That's what he's asking.
Okay, well, what they have to do, they have to come in and they go through a screening process. Just like you're going to screen your tenants, we have to screen them to make sure that they are eligible. They can't have any, they can't, I'm going to use the right word. Right, we can't have any felons. Thank you. We can't have any felons on our program. So we're going to screen them back and make sure that they're not. Yes. We're going to make sure if they say they have a certain income, they're going to bring all that documentation in. They're going to bring, if they have kids, they have to bring all that documentation. So they have to bring all that in. And then they go through a screening process. So they're just not handed a voucher off the street. They have to be screened.
No, we will not get a
No,
copy of
you
that.
can't
No.
do that. That's no, because you're going to do your screening process, but you can always ask them who was your previous landlord. And the landlord, you have the right to call that landlord. You have the right to call the technician. If she won't will not give you previous land information, and you keep going. You keep stepping. That's what they say. Okay.
Things that's changed, you cannot say.
Exactly.
Class.
Exactly. Exactly. No.
To your point when you were asking. Can't say.
You cannot say that, but you can screen them.
But you can screen.
Right.
And another thing, you cannot discriminate when the young lady is not here. She's there. They can use the word discrimination. It's actual violence, a domestic violence on women or any sexual, whichever woman, if they was abused or in a domestic violent relationship, it's up for the landlord and us to help that person move in and meet that criteria. That's one of the things you cannot discriminate against one of those type cases.
Will a person voucher or how many people are in that family? So if it's only 5 people in the family and they want to move in, 5 more,
Yeah.
Right,
you know they're trying to gain.
right.
Does
That,
it say how many people?
yes, it does.
Yeah.
You're supposed to know how many is in your household.
How many, you'll put that in your,
And if somebody comes in during the year,
Like
they've
if
got to
they,
get that checked out with us. They're allowed to do that.
like if they have a baby or whatever, and a baby or somebody died, and they take it on somebody else's child, that has to still come through us as a screening process.
Mom's going to move in because mom's, can't take care of herself. It has to go through the technical school before we can have it.
I've got a quick question here. I think I heard one back there. Normally when I move somebody into my house, I require first month's rent and a month's rent for security deposit. Now, somebody's Section 8 has a Section 8 voucher because they're not making that much money. They probably don't have that kind of money saved up. Does Section 8 require? I just had this issue a while back. I asked a girl, I said, I need this and this. Because we don't even know what Section 8 is going to pay until halfway through the first month. And she couldn't come up with it. And she felt I was pressuring her and I was being unfair. And she asked for her deposit back and went off in a huff. And I lost probably $3,000 because of that. Because now my process started all over. So you need to make sure that that when you talk to your tenants, you make it clear up front before you move into my house, security deposit, first month's rent.
And most of them know that.
That's gonna be $3,500. I don't have that kind of money. Well, then I need to know that now because I don't need to go through the whole process. And then at the last minute, you figure out on me, which happened to me, and then I had to start all over again. You're going to come for a state inspection on this house. That's agreed. Yes, sir.
Saying about starting that week promotion. I'm not.
No. What I'm saying is that the process, the good, the bad, the ugly. The bad thing, what I consider a downside of working with the Section 8 is that there's a bureaucracy. You don't walk in and say, hey, I'll take this tenant. And then Section 8, 3 days later, says, okay, it's all done and you move them in. It's 10 days for her. When she gets through her part, then they pass it over to Twisdale. It's another few days. It's literally, right now, it's 3 weeks.
I said it can go up to 28 days.
Yeah. So when you finally decide, yes, thank you, I've looked at everybody in the room and I think you be my tenant. It's 28 days until you can actually move that person in.
It may not be 28.
It may not
be
be
28.
But the paperwork says up to 15 days,
Mhm.
and that's 15 working days. So that's 3 weeks. How did I lose on that? No, just don't be a vacancy. Yeah. Because what happened was we had a discussion up front. I need $3,000 for you to move in. Do you understand that? Yes, I'll work it. Oh, but I'm on Section 8. They're going to pay part of it. No, man, we don't know what that part is. I need the first month's rent. Oh, I don't know. And then there was another little glitch that happened, but she kind of got upset at me for pushing, the full month's rent and security deposit.
You had a question.
Yeah, along the lines of what Stu was saying, is it reasonable to say your lease, like, I have a maximum of, I've got like a 3-bedroom house, I got a maximum of 5 people for the house. Chapel. People, because maybe you can have like a 5-bedroom house, work out. Yeah, I don't want, and 2 living rooms, maybe I don't want 2 people, 4 people.
You should have that in every lease anyway.
Yeah, and
the people you allow in your house should be in your lease.
Yeah.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So, that's your-
Just remember 2 bedrooms. So if you've got a 3-bedroom house, no more than 6.
You don't have to allow 2 people per bedroom, right?
No.
As long as they qualify for your unit. If they're a working family and they have money, they can sometimes go up. they might have 3 or 4 people to a 3-bedroom house. It depends. Each case is different.
These two right here, and then
And then we're gonna round it up.
Tap on Humanity helps with down payment assistance. Are they allowed to tap into that one?
That's totally up to the resident, the tenant. If they reach out to them and they's gonna give I don't know. We as an agency, we
That's a different.
They have that.
okay. Yes, sometimes I have heard of different organizations paying their security deposit, but most tenants know when they're trying to move. Most of them already know they have their money because they already know they're going to pay that security. They already know when they start looking, they already know. So his situation might be a little different, but most residents and tenants, and they always have their, they know we don't pay no security. We don't pay any pet fees. You put that in your lease. If you're allowing pets in your home, you have to charge your own pet fee. And then I don't want nobody to say this goes on like pets. But Mr. Twisdale will speak and say, if you allow pets in some tenants' homes, everybody's not responsible for their pets. So the pets can do major damage. That's why I say always do that check on your house. If you say no pet, then that's good. But if you're going to allow a pet, then you'll charge a pet fee.
if you say no pets and you find out 6 months later they have a dog or a pet and you're not happy with it, then you can check that they broke the lease because the lease said no pet. You can say, okay, you got 60 days to get out of my house.
Or you can give them a warning and give them a couple weeks to get rid of the little fee. And they come back. Yeah.
They're always using the babysit. The dog's not here.
Well, you're gonna come back, so you're gonna check it. If you done gave them a warning, then the next one would be a written one, and then you send it to their technician saying, hey, they're in violation of their lease. Always enforce your lease.
Right, so last thing on the inspection, when I go out, anything I see, and quite often they pass first time, but anything I see that needs to be brought up to what HUD says, I'll write it down. I give you the paper right then and there. When you've completed these deficiencies that I've written up, you call Patricia, who is our assistant. She will schedule for me to go back out there, and I go right by the list that I wrote originally, and I check it off, and I write you a pass.
So how long do you take initial inspection?
Close to a week, usually around a week or something like that. If it's like right now we're a little bit shorthanded. We got new people coming on board. It's going to go down probably. But right now, I'm doing a lot of the re-inspections, and some of them are 10 days out.
What about
If it's something easy, I'll slip you in between 2 inspections or run by, check off your 2 things. But if it's a whole page of stuff, I'll be able to squeeze you in between inspections.
How's your work with renter's insurance?
You can no, the tenant does. Always require tenants to have renter insurance. Always. Apartments been doing it for years. Now I'm trying to get the landlords to make sure this is a must.
Lease.
In the lease, show it to 6 months later, go back and say, hey, you still got renter's insurance. Can I see the updated?
Can you make your second landlord be like an additional insured?
Landlords
Landlord
always gonna have insurance on their house if they're a renter. They're always gonna have insurance unless it's paid for.
Well, I'm talking about landlord tell that renter, the insurance company providing the renter's insurance to put them on there. So if they cancel the insurance,
They can't
we
do,
can get
they
notified.
can't do that third party. You're gonna have to strictly go with you and your tenant. Because insurance don't supposed to tell somebody else's information.
What about supply versus demand? Housing supply versus voucher demand.
Right now, we're getting ready to put some vouchers on the street. We're here tonight trying to get some more properties out there. That's why we're here.
So there's more tenants looking for housing. And there is
More
housing.
tenants,
Yes.
90% of people that call me. I've had 3 pop up in the last 6 months, and it's overwhelming. What I get.
One last question.
Yes, ma'am.
You don't have any kind of orientation where you sit your tenants down and say, hey, this is what we expect from you, this is what your
They
land-
have a briefing. I have a landlord briefing. Miss Hardy does tenant briefings. She does them weekly. She has a room full. And she gives them a briefing, lectured them, and then they are assigned to a technician.
I never asked you guys, hey, feedback to the landlord, why can't we get more houses? Because if, for us, what would make us more interested in the program? Because we felt as though you guys are more involved throughout the lease. Like, when you come in 6 months and do an inspection and say, hey, you guys, just like you did when they moved in, that would be a help to us. Because if you feel like when the person moves in, then it's all on us after that. You know
Well,
what I
we
mean?
come
So-
around either every year or 2 years, depending on how young the kids are. If they're under 6, then we're gonna come around every year.
Mm-hmm.
If they're over 6, if the youngest kid is over 6, then we're gonna come around every 2 years. And that's why every 90 days, if you go in to change the air filter, you can see something's going on.
And we're not putting a lot of pressure on landlords because we're going to do our part, but we have to. It's a circle. It's a 3-party circle: the tenant, the landlord, and the housing authority. If we all do it together, it won't be a hardship because I got landlords calling me every day. Thank you, Miss Jones. This is the best thing. I'm in the. They'll get more property. Hey, I might have another property. Come see me. I tell them all, come see me before I retire. I'm gonna tell you guys, it was nice coming out tonight. I appreciate you guys for listening, taking time listening to us. But my partner has to get home real soon, and I don't want to be in hot water with his wife.
That's right.
So we're gonna say, I gave you guys tools. That book is your tool. Inside of it, it has my card. Mr. Twisdale passed out his card. So therefore, there's no reason why y'all can't come and join us at the Housing Authority. Because y'all gonna use us until you use us. Or we retire because we're getting up there, but whatever.
Hey, one good thing about the Section 8 program, the rent is in the bank on the first of every month. The rent is there. Unless the whole government goes broke, you don't have somebody calling saying, hey, I only worked 2 days last month. I'll try to catch up next
That
week.
is a true fact right there. I've had tenants that had a tenant in January. I lost my job. I fought it until April to try and get my money back from that tenant that was not on the program. That's a person not on the program. I have a tenant that's Section 8 on the program. I lost my job. Section 8 pays the whole thing until they get back into the job, and you're covered. You're not fighting. You might fight every now and then
That's a
because
good thing about
$20
money's in
is
the
not
bank.
worth me going in and chasing you down for your money. And $20 is not worth somebody getting up off the couch to go put the money in the bank for you. So, I mean, there's a little bit of that goes on, but it's a whole lot easier than I went through with a non-voucher